All right, good morning again. Welcome back. Hopefully you guys can hear me and everything is good to go. If you could let me know. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, good. Thank you, John. Thank you, Miles. Thank you too, Perry. Nice to see you, Perry. Hope everything's going well on your end. John. John, it's late for you, is it not? So we've got about 8 minutes to go here. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, as people are starting to file back in, just a quick overview of how we do this in case you're unfamiliar. The report will come out right at 10:30 New York time. We'll wait 2 minutes, then we'll start looking for a trade. I'll be trading the chart on the right, the 377 tick chart, which is counterpunch. A lot of traders are using Spotlight, which works excellent as well. The bottom left is the 8-tick momentum bar, the same one we saw earlier. And the one on the top is the 5-tick momentum bar. Definitely a faster chart. Both work well. I wish I had space to put on unleaded gas, because unleaded gas is another excellent choice to trade on the heels of the release of the report. It wins a lot as well. So now we're just waiting another 6 minutes or so, and then we'll be all fired up, ready to go. And if you're just joining us, please say hello. Let us know you're here. Any questions? This is the time to ask before the session starts. We have time to review how Crude did on Counterpunch this morning. So this is a trade plan that starts around 8:50, although I think starting at 9 might actually be better these days. And the 8:50 start time had this short little trade here that was a loser, and then a break even. Starting at 9, though, one and done. Nice big winner here. Well, I wouldn't call it a big winner, but, well, not bad. Goes to target 2, 20 cents. $200 a contract, and trailed even further. So pretty nice trade. This trade was totally missed by Spotlight. It didn't have to be missed. I mean, with Spotlight, you could have grabbed it. Well, it just depends on what setups are flipped on. But with our basic trade plan, as we could see on the 8-tick momentum bar, this moved down. There was just no way to grab it. So Counterpunch was able to grab it with a 377 tick chart. With the 8-tick momentum bar, there's just no setup here. The market was overbought earlier, but the strategy already used that setup. And that was earlier than the start time. So it didn't get overbought again. And so there was no way to grab this. The exhaustion dots weren't close enough to any of our lines. And there's just no setup here for Spotlight. Spotlight doesn't try to catch every setup. It only looks for the setup with the best odds. And that's, in the long run, typically has a better win rate than Counterpunch. But that doesn't mean it's going to win the same. And sometimes Counterpunch will grab a winning trade when Spotlight won't. All right, let me remind you all to smash that like button again. Hit the like. I feel like I'm the town crier with a tin cup running around begging for shekels. If you could hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. Is the picture fuzzy? You know, you might have to just kind of hit the resolution, change the resolution. It shouldn't be fuzzy. Is it fuzzy for anyone else? You should have a pretty sharp resolution. Got about 80 seconds to go. Did that help, John? Thank you, Kay John. Thanks, Miles. Perry. Yeah, so hopefully Mike S. Fuzzy. Yeah, so you should be able to change the resolution on YouTube. I forget how it looks. A little gear button on the bottom right or something. Flip it over to the highest resolution possible. Should solve the problem. Got Judith. Yeah, let me know if that helps, guys. I think, John, did that help? John W? Yes, okay, good. Hopefully it helps you. Fuzzy's no good. That's for sure. All right, we are almost 30 seconds away from the report. It worked. Cool. Mike S. Hopefully that fixes it. Judith. Yeah, you're welcome. No, trust me. Fuzzy is no good. That would drive me nuts. All right. Good question. All right. Any second, let's see how in sync my clock is here. There it is. Oh, yeah, pretty close. That looked like it was right on time. So not a big reaction, though. Pretty muted, but you could see, right, as soon as it happened. We're going to mark the low end of this reaction. Give the initial upward thrust a chance to finish, and then, yeah, pretty tight range so far. Let's see if it goes any higher here. Look at that 200 moving average. So that's pretty much the end of our reaction. Not a lot there. We're just going to draw the line so we can kind of see where we're at. Trading right in the middle of it. And it's like a 30-tick reaction. All right, so now it's poking through the floor here. Not by much. Pretty messy so far. Got FOMC meeting minutes today. That might have something to do with it. Right back in the middle of things here. So we got about 30 seconds to go, and then we'll start looking for a trade. Yeah. Kind of uninspiring price action, as you can see. But no setups either. All right, that's a long setup. We're going to go long at 59.16. Heads up, guys, 59.16. That's going to be targeting. To move my stuff. My computer is behaving slowly. All right, so we're targeting 59.39. Money management is at 59.30, and the stop is at 92. I think I'm pushing my CPU more than I should be. Probably should close some stuff. So you can see it's struggling to get through its resistance. Let's mark our money management level in case we can push through. Here's our setup bar. Definitely an awkward place to get long, but sometimes the awkward trades are the best. Let's hope. Well, that's a stop and reverse now at 97. A stop and reverse. And it did stop and reverse. I didn't get filled. Oh, brother. All right, so 97, it did not get to its money management. It's got to get to 87. It got to 88. So we need to go one more tick. There it is. All right, if you're in this trade, you can move your stop to break even. I was unable to get filled, and there it is. smashing smashing through its targets. Excuse me. Getting to 79, that's an 18-cent winner after the adjustment. Your stop should be at break even, and we'll be moving up to 96 in a moment. Well, actually 96 is break even, so your stop should be at 96 right now. Hopefully you guys were able to flip over your position and get out of the long trade and into the winning short trade. This should end up being, you know, if not a winning session, you should be close to break even now without doing the math. Pretty close. Okay, the stop just moved down. Heads up, everyone. 92. Move the stop to 92. Just looking at Spotlight really fast without analyzing it closely, it looks like it did pretty well or is doing pretty well. We'll take a look at it in a moment. Move your stop to 91 if you're in Counterpunch. Hopefully getting another leg lower here in a moment. And the stop just moved down again to 87. That's debatable. You might want to keep it at 91, see if you can stay in for a larger move. But 87, I mean, that's 4 ticks. That's $40 a contract. I wouldn't mind if you pushed your stop down to that as well. Just realize you may miss a larger move. So it did just hit 87. Looks like the pound Aussie, by the way, is hitting some targets. So just in case you kept your stop at 91, and you could see that could have made a big difference because you would have a chance now for a larger move lower. Although it seems to be struggling down here at this level. And of course it is. It's the 75-cent level. The quarter century numbers always put up a brick wall, and you need power to get through it. As you can see, look at it just stopped in its tracks at that 75-cent level. No surprise there. It may still push lower. Let's see. And it did not. So out at 91, 87 was the better place today. But as a general habit, I like to risk 1, 2, maybe 3 ticks. This was 4 ticks. So that's kind of like you're on the fence. Do you risk the 4 ticks to try to stay in for a bigger move or not? So the failure to get lower could lead to a larger move higher, but yeah, anyone want to take another trade? Long at 96, 58.96. But I think that this session is over after the partial loser and the full winner here. So let's just review. Let's take a look at the 5-tick momentum bar. So waiting your 2 minutes, it's possible you got long on the blue trade, which is getting in sync, and then you would have had to flip to short on this trade here, and that was a full winner. So getting long, then short, kind of like with counterpunch, and you could see that the short cutting the loss way down on that blue trade for a full winner, and should be a successful session on the 5-tick momentum bar with Spotlight. And then on the 8-tick momentum bar, this is an interesting setup because it's using the 200 moving average, much like we use the 50 and the 20. It's definitely a diamond level setup, but it's part of this particular plan, and you would have got in sync right here, and that one came down and target 1, 17 ticks. Not quite getting to target 2, almost. Look how close that was, but target 1 is the main objective for the 8-tick momentum bar. So that was one and done, and a successful session as well. And then just for the fun of it, this is unleaded, and waiting 2 minutes, this is very similar to what we saw on the 5-tick momentum bar. If you're getting in sync with the blue trade, which is debatable because, I mean, the rules say get in sync, but once you see all this resistance up here above the 50 moving average and all the struggle, I mean, it doesn't bother me to maybe adjust your entry. That's pretty far. But anyway, regardless, if you got long or not, you're flipping over to short, like we saw with with crude oil, and that one got through all the way down to target 3, and it would have been a two trade winning session. It would have been very good regardless. So unleaded also doing very well as a result of the crude oil report. So that's a wrap, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. This is the time to ask. John W., would you please show your 5-tick momentum settings? Sure. Are you talking about with Spotlight? So this is the default. And John W., do you have Spotlight? Jim W., sorry. My eyeballs are playing tricks on me. Jim W. Yeah, so basically there's no changes. It's the default settings. The only thing is that you would want to turn on. You have the 8-bar crossover filter instead of 20, so that's different. And then you've got your crude oil, your key level adjustments, right? I mean, nothing's changed in the many years that we've been using this. I don't know if there's anything in particular you wanted to double check. Your original 3 Spotlight Power Trader gold level setups. You might want to use stop and reverse adjustment to false. So I think with the default settings, it's set to true. I always turn mine off. Jim, it might be the stop and reverse adjustment if yours is set to true. It also could be, I don't remember if on the minor key level adjustment on the entry zone, the default, this might be 0. And on crude oil, I adjust it around the 5s. So check that. That could be different. I'm just trying to remember. It's been so long since I've looked. But if I remember right, I think those are the main differences. They're very subtle. The minimum ticks for money management, make sure that's set to 10. What else? I think that's it. Brett, good question. I use the 8. It's an 8 bar, not 8. Yeah, 8 bar. I do. I use the 8 bar for everything. I'm not sure if it's better than the 20 bar. I mean, I've never really compared. It would take a long time to kind of figure out. Well, it wouldn't take that long. But I just think that the 8 bar has worked so well that I've just decided that that's kind of what my default is for all my charts. The 20 is good too. John W., keen to see more if you're willing for today and what you do. Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to show you, but I'm admittedly not sure what that question means because that's a big subject, John. This particular session is specific to the crude oil inventory report. We are finished. You could see, let me also point out that our power of quitting goals and stopping after those first 2 trades, probably the best decision, as you can see. That long trade. I mean, is it still long? 72, it would have, no, yeah, barely. It didn't get to 72. That would flip it over to short. And John Lizar using the 8 bar crossover as well. So John W., let's start with that. I'll give you that, all right? So when we're using Spotlight Master Suite, which is the 2 charts on the left, there's a filter that we use. And that filter is called the moving average crossover filter. And this is how it works. When the 50 moving average, which is the yellow line, crosses below the 200 moving average, we're going to prevent long trades for 8 bars after that crossover. Now, the default setting on the calculator is 20 bars. So this is the subject of this last thing we've been talking about. I've changed it to an 8 bar count. So the strategy will count 8 bars, and that's what the magenta bar is. The magenta bar is the 8th bar. Now, if it was set to 20, then that magenta bar would be over to the right, 20 bars. You see, so it prevents this long trade. That the long trade is in gray. It shows us the trade. But with Spotlight Power Trader and Spotlight Master Suite, gray means flat. Sometimes for an advanced technique, certain situations, you may decide to override a filter and take a trade. And that's why we show it in gray, because if you wanted to take the trade, you'd be able to see it. It's all here in the data window and everything. But ultimately, it's a trade that's not part of the general trade plan, and you filter it out, which in this case worked great, right? Because it would have been a loser. But that's what that is. That's what we were just talking about. Cool, huh? There's other filters too, and depending on the strategy, whether it's Spotlight or Counterpunch Trader. Another filter, of course, is our power of quitting goals. It's not something that prints on the chart. It's just something that tells us to stop trading. And, you know, we don't take a short-term need to make money today approach, because our business is a little bit more of a bigger picture for us from the trees concept, where we want to grow our account over time efficiently and control our drawdown. So we want to keep the profits when we make it. We also want to minimize the drawdown when it's just not hitting. So we minimize the amount of trades we do in a trade plan, and we look to quit our sessions with a positive result a majority of the time and control our drawdown with minimal and efficient trading. So that's a filter, really, if you think about it. Power of quitting, even though it's not something that prints on the chart. But that's also very important. It's part of the 12 powers to successful trading. It's in my ebook, but it's definitely something that we've been following for many years. So that pretty much wraps it up for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you for joining me. Please hit the like button if you haven't done so already. John will be with you tomorrow. And John, let me know, but I think you're good to go next week, right? I believe. I'm not sure if I'll be here on Monday. I know if not, John and I had been talking about it. So I think John's going to be here if I'm unable to. What else? Any questions before we say goodbye? John W., thank you for staying up so late and joining us. You're very welcome. Just remember, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're typically in here at 9:30 New York time on most weeks. All right, so I don't see any more questions. John Lizar, you're good to go next week, I believe. Let me know if there's any changes. And everyone have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.